Yes.
I thought it was. I couldn't see you.
I think that's all I do. Dad, I need you to pick up here. Dad, can you get me here? I'm like,
I said to Chip, I said, what'd you do wrong? And we got Chip.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, we are going to have two meetings running concurrently. We will begin with the public hearing for the budget, which is now open. If there is anyone present that would like to address the board regarding the 2021-2022 budget, you may do so now. Okay, I am hearing none, so I will now call the Lapeer Community School Board of Education. Meeting is now in order. Dr. Watson, would you please lead us through the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. Okay, now I'd like to hand it over to you, Superintendent Wandering.
Thank you, Madam President. On this, the final day of the fiscal year 2021, we think it is appropriate to acknowledge the year it has been in our district and many districts across the state and nation. One of triumph and tragedy. It was a year in which we witnessed the incredible resolve of our students and staff amid very challenging circumstances. Through our failures and successes, we learned a little more about ourselves, our students, and our community. Even through difficult times, there were subtle and much needed reminders of why we chose this noble profession. In the midst of victories large and small, we cannot forget the ones that we have lost. Tragically, in the last year, our school district has experienced unimaginable loss. We had students who lost parents and grandparents. We've had colleagues who have lost spouses, friends who were here today and gone next. It was a near weekly reminder of the fleeting nature of life and how we all should cherish the moments that we have with our family and friends. On behalf of the Board of Education, we want to publicly affirm everyone in their grief, express our sympathy, and pledge our support as a school and as a community moving forward. With that, we'd like to share in a moment of silence to honor the memories of the people we lost this last year. May this affirmation be a comfort to everyone who grieves today.
Thank you, Superintendent Walker. And we'll keep it with you still for the introductions for this evening.
Yes, thank you again. So while the end of the school year is a challenging time for many districts as we struggle through our budget process and planning moving ahead for the following school year, it's also a time of great renewal. We get the opportunity to say goodbye to some longtime employees in their retirement, those that have moved on for other opportunities. Bittersweet, as we say goodbye to some great longtime employees, but also a wonderful time to welcome new members into our school community. With us this evening are two of those new members, two leaders, principal and assistant principal candidates who have taken time out of their busy schedule to come and be introduced. This is kind of a long-standing tradition in Lapeer schools. We not only welcome you, but we have specifically identified what institutions of higher learning you attended, and you will quickly learn the allegiances of the Board of Education for those in the audience as we either cheer or boo where you chose to go to school. That was your decision, not our fault, not the fine institution and members that represent the school and community here. So welcome, and this begins hopefully a long time and long-standing tradition of bullying and abuse of managers, which we don't condone. It just is part of the culture. First, Michelle McKendry, most recently a teacher in the Walled Lake Consolidated School District, will be the new principal at Schickler Elementary. Michelle, a summa cum laude graduate of Central Michigan University. Fire up, Chips. So far, so good, Michelle. And a Master's of Education from Oakland University. All right, Chris. 2 for 2. Has 18 years of experience in teaching in Michigan and Texas. In her most recent position, she held many leadership roles, including acting principal, and she resides in Grand Blanc. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you.
Kayla Dowdle, most recently a teacher in the Davison Community Schools, will be the new associate principal at the Zimmer 8-9 campus. Now I'm going to go a little off script here. I said Davison. We're not going to hold that against you. Right? Got the right outfit on. Okay, so far so good. Kayla, a Davison resident, which we'll hope to change, has 11 years of teaching experience and has held numerous positions of leadership during her career, including interim assistant principal, intersection coordinator, school improvement chair, and more. She was selected as Teacher of the Year in 2014. Kayla earned her Bachelor's in Elementary Education, an MA in Public Admin from the University of Michigan.
Go green.
Fortunately for you guys, the board doesn't vote to accept you as candidates. Both of these fine leaders will officially begin their new positions effective July 1st. Please join us in welcoming both Michelle and Kayla. Also noteworthy, we don't expect you to remain for the entirety of the meeting. So, just in case you snuck out, no one's going to talk about you behind your back, except for Mr. Hagnon, because he supports Michigan State.
I like schools that have Paul Bunyan.
Okay, can we get him up? There's gotta be applause in there somewhere. Not all bad, not all bad. All right, back to you, Madam President.
Welcome, you guys. We are delighted to have you at our district. Next, we will move on to our public comment. So a board meeting is a meeting of school district business held in public. It is not a public meeting. The board is not going to respond to those making public comment, but will direct the superintendent to follow up with the presenter. 30 minutes is set aside for public comment, so each presenter is being asked to keep their comments brief. The board does not comment in public on any student or employee and asks the presenter to be respectful of any person they comment about. Each person will have 5 minutes. So the first one is Myra Gray.
Hi, my name is Myra Gray, and I'm the president of the LESP, the Lapeer Educational Support Professionals, and our unit represents the secretaries and parapros. I work in payroll, but started as a para in 2010. When I began as a parapro, it was a pretty good job. We were paid well above minimum wage, benefits were available to most paras, and we were paid for snow days. Today, I would just like to bring to your attention the sacrifices our group has made for the district over the years. In 2007, minimum wage was $7.40, and a parapro beginning wage started at $9.46, topped out at $10.78, which was 45% above minimum wage at the time. Clerical wages started at $11.68 and topped out at $16.30, which at that time was 120% above minimum wage. In 2012, we were asked to take pay cuts. Most parapros were unable to keep their medical insurance because of all of their hours were also cut, so they were no longer eligible for the board paid insurance. And we lost our snow days. It took until our 2018 contract to have our wages equal to what they were before the pay cut. And we are currently topped out at the exact same wages we had in 2007, 14 years later. Currently, minimum wage is $9.65, which is also the current beginning wage of a parapro. And the top para wage is currently $11.07. Which is only 14% above minimum wage, 31% less of a difference than in 2007. Our top clerical wage is currently still $16.30, which is 68% above minimum wage, leaving a 52% decrease in the minimum wage gap over the last 14 years. The reason I am focused on the minimum wage comparison is that to become a parapro, you must fulfill the requirements to be highly qualified. Either have an associate's degree, 60 credit hours, or be able to pass the work keys test. These paras work with our children and should be respected by them, especially at the secondary level where the kids are starting their first jobs, flipping burgers or pushing carts with a starting wage of $12 or more per hour. But a para who may have been with the district 10 to 20 years currently does not have the opportunity to ever make as much as their students who are starting their first jobs. Sure, the paras have the choice to leave and go work at a fast food restaurant, but they stay because they truly do care about the kids. I mentioned earlier that in 2012, the paras had their hours cut and are now only eligible for the 50% board paid medical. On average, a parapro's yearly salary is around $11,500 per year. And currently, we have some paras enrolled in medical insurance plans for their family, and their out-of-pocket cost for the premium is between $8,000 and $11,500 per year for the insurance. They aren't working solely to pay for the medical insurance. We were at the table to negotiate our contract last year, and previous to our scheduled bargaining, the units who bargained before us all received wage increases. But when it was our turn, along with the custodians, we were asked to take a freeze in our pay for the year due to the uncertainty of the economy due to COVID just beginning. Our group made the sacrifice and agreed to the freeze in wages for the year, and we are now at the table again. Those groups who bargained before us were also at the table again this year, and those who have settled received yet another wage increase. We hope the sacrifice we made last year will be appreciated and taken into consideration during this round of bargaining. We understand the district cannot compete with the wages of private businesses, but compared to other similar districts, we are just about at the bottom of the scale. Over this past year, our secretaries and paras both had to take on many additional duties, due both to the extra COVID regulations and being very short-staffed with paragirls. They were going above and beyond to cover for the many vacant positions and to ensure the district could operate face-to-face. By the end of the year, the morale was very low and many felt the sacrifices they made went unnoticed and felt very underappreciated. We understand it was a hard year for everyone, but felt it was necessary at this time to bring the attention the sacrifices our unit has made over the years and bringing to light the struggle we all have. We love our district. Did I finish my sentence? Okay. We love our district and we love working with the kids, which is why we make so many sacrifices, but we also deserve a living wage which reflects the importance of our roles in the district. We are difference makers.
Patty Sills.
Good evening, my name is Patty Sills, and I have been with Lapeer for 46 years and worked for Lapeer Community Schools for over 12 years. I started working here as a paraprofessional and am currently a secretary of the district and a secretary for Lapeer Educational Support Personnel. I have chosen to work here for the past 12 years because it has worked for my family when my kids were younger. I worked in their schools and was able to drive them to school and pick them up for most of their lives. All my kids had graduated from high school as of this year. 2 of my kids are 18 years old and currently make more money than me right out of high school. I have years of college credits and years of training, both of which they don't have. I've had several second jobs since I started working for this district to provide for my family because my job at Lapeer Community Schools hasn't given me a raise in years. I would love to help my kids pay for college or go to a trade school, but I can't afford to do that right now. I have over the years taken money from my paychecks to pay for lunches, clothes, enrollment fees, school pictures, and other items to make sure that the kids in our district don't go hungry or feel embarrassed because their families can't afford these things for them. I've had to fill in for several people over this year because of staffing shortages, and then had to stay away from my mom who was recovering from cancer, and my niece who had a baby because I had to be extra cautious with having been in a building that had a major COVID outbreak. I agreed to a pay freeze last year because I was hoping that when we bargain our next agreement, this district would recognize yet another sacrifice made by your employees, and we would finally be compensated in the form of a livable raise. However, once again, that is not happening. On the wall over there by the entrance of this boardroom are belief statements. The last statement says, a successful school district is dependent upon qualified and dedicated staff who are valued and supported. I no longer feel that that is a true statement and that this district values our unit. I've been told by administration that we shouldn't go into education for the money, but I should be able to count on my jobs as secretary for the district to cover my basic necessities after 12 years. I ask you to support our unit after negotiating for 6 months and a decent pay increase. Show us how much you value us and the hard work we do on a daily basis. Those of us who are dedicated employees of the district and its students.
Holly Peralta.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, administration, and my fellow staff members of the Fair School District. My name is Holly Peralta, a LSP bargaining member, a paraprofessional at Maple Grove for the suspended and expelled program. I have worked in this district for 12 years. This year, I have not just worked at Maple Grove, but I have also worked at Turl, Lynch, Schickler, Roland Warner, Zemmer, and right here at the administration building. There were times more than one building in one day. I have definitely sacrificed my stability this year due to reassignments because of COVID. Over the past 6 years, I have worked 2 jobs. My husband and I could pay the bills. I definitely do not like sacrificing my time of my husband because one job for me wasn't enough to help pay the bills. Working at Maple Grove is always a challenge. Some days it is physical, but most days it is emotionally and mentally exhausting. Then there are the days that I sacrifice my dignity. I am humiliated because a student just got their first job and they are being paid more than a paraprofessional. I have heard from administrators, you should be here for the kids. Or, if you wanted to get rich, it's not an education, but I just want to pay the bills. I would like to mention others in this district that had to make even a larger sacrifice. There are parapros and secretaries that had to decide whether to pay their bills or play Russian roulette with their lives because of COVID-19. That is a sacrifice that my best friend and many others were forced to make. Teachers and administrators were given options including hybrid and fully virtual. In conclusion, whether a paraprofessional or a secretary, we, the LESP, are hard workers, team players, and we continue to make sacrifices so our students can be successful. I wish I could say the road went both ways. Thank you very much.
Dara?
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Wandering. I stand before you tonight wearing many hats. Community member, parent of past and current students, Lapeer Schools alumni, employee, but most importantly tonight, Vice President of the Lapeer Education Support Personnel Unit. If you are unfamiliar with the Lapeer Education Support Personnel Unit, or LESP for short, that is the unit that consists of our paraprofessionals and our secretaries that work throughout our district. We each have official titles for our positions, but some of the words I would use to describe our titles with students would be mentor, educator, cheerleader, and friend. When recently surveyed, LESP members shared with me some of the sacrifices that they had to make to work with Lapeer Community Schools. When coming to work with Lapeer Community Schools, many didn't realize that they would have to sacrifice precious time with their family. Now, I'm not talking about the typical 6 to 8 hour work hour day that they're at their scheduled buildings. I'm talking about the large number of members in our unit that have had to take a second job in order to be able to financially provide for their families. The majority of the people who have reported that they have a second job have been in the district longer than 5 years, have college credits, or even a completed degree. Most sacrifice daily consistency in their jobs. We get that this has been an atypical year with staffing shortages, but this is not a new topic among our paraprofessionals. There is a common thread among the paraprofessionals that they are not able to consistently plan for their days with their students, as each day can be different based on absences and unfilled positions. Now, we understand that there are needs that need to be met, and staff need to provide these needs based on the students, but there has to be a better process than what's currently in place. We also didn't realize that we would have to sacrifice respect. Respect from the students that we work with, our building administrators, and even our district administrators. How can we expect our students to respect the paraprofessionals that are working to help educate them, the secretaries that are working to help run a building, when the students themselves are able to make more money pulling groceries at an entry-level job with no college education? I've been told, and some have even commented in the survey, about instances where staff have expressed unhappiness with the current state of our wages, or the fact that some of our unit members are making the same as they were 14 years ago. Their comments were met with responses from admin at both building and district levels that if they weren't happy with it or they didn't like it, they could work elsewhere. Members of the LESP unit have chosen to work here because we too want to make a difference with the students, enrich our community, and support Lapeer Community Schools. But we did not choose the sacrifices that we have continued to have to make in order to work here. Is this really the work environment and reputation that we want for Lapeer Community Schools with our most vital employees? Thank you for listening, and thank you for your time.
Wendy Kellner, and I am an instructional paraprofessional at Carroll Elementary, as well as a member of the LESP bargaining unit. You may have noticed a common theme with the LESP members who've spoken here tonight: sacrifice. Every person in every job, in every station of life, is required to make sacrifices in order to survive. We all understand this and feel this opportunity cost of life. What I'm hoping to convey is the fact that our sacrifices do not cover the basic cost of living in this world. Somewhere around 2011, we were asked as a district to take a shared sacrifice of a 6% pay cut. We agreed. It has taken almost all these years to get that back. We took a pay freeze last year due to the many issues with COVID. Not one of the LESP members earns enough money to meet the cost of living. In fact, we all would qualify for free or reduced school lunches based on our income alone. We are required to have a 2-year degree or pass a test in order to do this job. Our students with no experience can earn $13 an hour Taco Bell. I know that the thought process is that if we want that, we don't work in Taco Bell. But that type of thinking is less than complex. Most of us do this job because we love the students. We want to help them in any way we can. We are the teachers, counselors, confidants, and sometimes mothers, regardless of our gender. It is our job is special. We know the students like no other staff does. It is our calling to care for our students without regard for our own financial benefit. There does come a time when our sacrifices outweigh our desire to assist our students. I know there are many people who have given up far more than myself. But that being said, this year was especially difficult. I have MS, multiple sclerosis, which makes me more susceptible to viruses than the average person. Before the availability of a vaccine, I went to work every day knowingly exposing myself to a horrific virus. When we came back face to face, we were told that we could sit with our own cohort group in order to reduce exposure. I know that was the plan and the hope, but it wasn't the reality. I personally spent every day in the cafeteria during 2 lunch periods with every student unmasked while eating. I was exposed to every maskless student from 2nd grade through 5th every day. I gave up precious time with, like many others, I gave up precious time with our loved ones. My mom is older and widowed. I'm the person who takes care of the things that she can't. We gave up Thanksgiving and Christmas to keep her safe and away from my constant possible exposure. We gave up my only daughter's wedding. The guest list included only the bridegroom and parents of each. Her grandma couldn't be there with us. COVID is obviously an extreme and weird circumstance, and we all know our way through. If you aren't familiar with MS, fatigue is usually the most debilitating symptom that people have. It's not your normal, I'm tired, I need a nap. It is, I can't move my limbs, I can't lift my leg. I have to grab my pant leg and pull my leg up to get it into my car to leave at the end of the day because it's not going to work on its own. And any given day, I give up the possibility of enjoying evening activities in order for my legs to have worked all day at school. I hit a wall and my body says stop. That part is not a choice. I do have building level administration that understands and works with me on this, and I really am very grateful for that. I used to love my job. I didn't mind giving up so much of myself. I'm not so sure anymore. I do care about the people I work with, which makes it all the more difficult to refuse extra work. I've always given my time and talents in the same way I gave them to my church. I paint and decorate things that need sprucing. I always volunteer to help with family nights, often sharing my own craft supplies or equipment. I substitute teach when we are short-handed. Extremely common, extremely. I choose to make these sacrifices. However, I also feel that I deserve the respect and pay that, at a minimum, isn't a laugh in my face. Thank you.
Cindy Petro.
I'm also long with COVID.
Take your time.
So I will get here. I just briefly have a statement to make about the candidates that are running for board here in my selecting tonight. One of those persons made a comment to me that their kids, they were allowing their own students, their own children to come to their schools because it wasn't what they're coming to. I just feel you need to know that. I won't reveal which person, you know who's coming forward. But to me, that really saddened my heart because I believe if your kids are in school, you're going to work a lot harder. And I also want to say, there was a young boy, let's stay at school. I worked at work. I live in the Pure Meadows over yonder. It's a very poor community. And these kids being forced to wear the mask, a lot of them are so scared. And he's coming down the road, along the side of the road, and he passes out because he has that mask on. And when he came to, he was afraid of me. Someone that used to come to me and loved to get my popsicles and cookies, and I'm kind of like the neighborhood grandma. He's now afraid of me because of COVID. I would like to ask each and every one of you to really consider what we are doing to these little children. Because one day they will be us representing our district. They will be the ones, the minds that we distorted, that are scared. They're scared to death. And I don't know how people handle them in school, but when they got off that bus, they were desperate. That little boy, he was scared. That was such a shame. So I would ask you guys, when the state puts the mandates down in the fall and recommends they wear masks, I'll tell you, masks do not work. I also have a pre-existing condition, other than my back. I have worked through COVID in the hospital. I've had to go there every 2 to 3 weeks and get injections just so I can stand before you. I wore the mask, but then I also didn't wear the mask outside because I was told it was making me sick. So I stopped wearing it, and I'm finally getting my stability back. And I'd also like to, the mask thing is completely wrong. And I'd like you to really look into it. They do not work. I mean, I know some of you, this one lady said, she worked with kids wearing masks and worked without it with MS. I don't think she got it. I hope not. I mean, COVID itself is nothing but a common cold that has been distorted and redirected at the American people to harm us and take us down. They are saying there is a variant coming out of it, and that's supposed to hit us in the fall. You know what's going to come down the pike? More mandates. So please, let us be a light in the state of Michigan, in the schools. Let's save our children. The little guys walking down the road, they've seen that little guy fall, and he'd be afraid to be like it was so hard. So please take that into consideration, what we are doing to these little kids. We may think we're protecting them, but in the long run, I believe we're forming them. And they're all coming out with breathing, or disorders and things. I believe it is going to make all of us sick. So thank you very much for doing this.
Okay, I think that concludes our public comment for this evening. We will go ahead and move forward with our board candidate interviews. Former Lapeer Community School Board of Education trustee Lisa Schultz was recently appointed a Hadley Township treasurer. With this appointment, Mrs. Schultz submitted her resignation on June 9th. She will be greatly missed by this board. By law, the Board of Education must fill the new vacancy by appointment within 30 days. The new member will complete the remainder of Mrs. Schultz's term, which ends December 31st, 2022. The seat will be placed on the ballot in the November 2022 election for a 6-year term. This board meeting being our only meeting during the 30-day timeframe, we will do our best to select the most qualified candidate to fulfill this seat. After the candidates' presentations, board members will submit nominations and discussions will take place about the nominated candidates. After all nominations and discussions have taken place, then the board will vote on a candidate. The candidate will then be sworn in to serve on the Board of Education and join us at the table for the remainder of this evening's meeting. This evening, we will hear from candidate applicants Carol Brown, William Hamilton, and Nicole McKenna. Each one will be given 7 minutes to answer the following questions. 1, what are some of the challenges facing schools today, and what ideas and contributions could you offer to address them? 2, what are some of the challenges facing Lapeer Community Schools? How would you address them? 3, what are the roles and responsibility of a board member? 4, what would you like to see changed or expanded in the district, and how do you envision your role in that change? Just a reminder to the board members here at the table, we will only be able to ask clarifying questions. No new questions will be asked. So at this time, I'd like Ms. Carol Brown to please come up.
Thank you for this opportunity to address the board, staff, and concerned citizens. I'd like to tell you a bit about myself and my family. My family has lived in the Lapeer Community School District for 44 years. Our 3 children went to Lapeer Community Schools for elementary, junior high, as it was called at that time, and high school. We were proud of the school district and feel our children received a good education here. I was a nationally certified pharmacy technician at McLaren-Lapeer region, where I worked for almost 18 years. I retired early due to a motorcycle accident because at that time I could not return to my full-time duties. Thank God I have little residual effects from that accident today. The reason that I am applying for the open board positions are, I have a real concern for the health and welfare of children. My granddaughter attends one of the elementary schools. Excuse me. When I look at our communities, our state and country, I see the country I grew up in radically changing, substituting the principles of liberty with morality that made our country prosperous and blessed. Together, we must protect our American values and traditions. And some are already the questions, so I'll just answer them. The first one, times have changed pretty drastically since the time when our last child graduated from high school in 2000. Education standards are far different and far-reaching into areas that many of us remember used to be considered as family matters, not intended to be taught in the public school arena. Sex education has developed into topics like gender identity, which allows a biological student that identifies with the opposite sex than what they were born with to use a bathroom in the identity that they perceive to be. There doesn't seem to be any one solution that would be acceptable to those on both sides of that dilemma. The way I would handle this bathroom situation is The gender-identified person would be allowed to use a bathroom in the nursing station or office area or the bathroom of their biological sex. Another challenge to some teachers might be that their livelihood may be in jeopardy because of not using the politically correct term, just lost my place, and addressing a student that identifies with a different gender than the one they were born with. These types of identity role changes are some of the greatest challenges our school board, teachers, and staff are facing today. And what are some of the challenges facing Lapeer Community Schools? One of the biggest educational concerns facing our school is a controversial topic called critical race theory. This will be a high priority challenge for our school district and school board to tackle in coming school sessions. We all need to learn what ideas are presented. Are they ethical and necessary for our children to hear and learn? Should schools be involved in presenting these ideas to our children, or should parents be the best source to present these topics to their own children? Critical race theory teaches children that America is systemically racist. American history is being twisted with hate messages that America is a horrible country that is divided by race. CRT is being mandated to our military soldiers and in employment settings. Where mandatory agreement by the employee may be necessary to keep their job. What is the solution to this hate-infused twisting of history? Nip it in the bud. Teach the truthful facts to our children about our history, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Fight back against the minority of people that believe this Marxist view. Other challenges facing Lapeer Community Schools are funding, keeping schools open with challenging health mandates and lower student enrollments. Federal grants and stimulus monies are helpful, but if questionable conditions or policies are the strings attached to receiving this money, the approach would be to proceed with great caution and insightful perspective to do the right thing for the health and welfare of our students and families. What are the roles and responsibilities of board members? Local school board members' responsibilities are to set goals for the district with a vision of how to achieve those goals, both short and long term, with periodic evaluations of the results, hiring the school superintendent, having an annual review or evaluation of the superintendent, adopting and managing an annual budget, reviewing curriculum, building community relationships, establishing ethical standards and values and compliance. School board members must be able to back up their decisions with facts and data. Be transparent to staff, parents, and the public. Be able to work with staff, parents, and the public, and ensure the school district is responsive to the values, beliefs, and priorities of their communities. What would you like to see changed? One important improvement I'd like to see happen between our local school board members and the public is expanded opportunities of communication. Okay. So I'd like to have quarterly or biannual meetings scheduled separate from the regular school board meetings, and we each, the board, the public, can ask each other questions and get answers. I also want to say that I'm very happy with things that have been done, AP classes, dual enrollment, homeschool partnership, and early college that allows a senior to graduate with an associate degree. These programs are beneficial enrichments available for our students. The students that are able to participate in these types of educational opportunities have such immense advancement capabilities compared to what was offered when our children were in high school. These are some of the propelling opportunities our school district has available for students to obtain the most from their high school learning experience. I want to add that I did run for this position in November of 2020. I missed out winning by 350 votes. I came in 4th place. I received over 7,000 votes. So this opportunity is presenting itself again. So here I am once again seeking a place at the table. I will work hard for our students and families, seeking policies that enhance the health and welfare of our kids, families, and communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hamilton?
Appreciate the opportunity to address the board and be considered for the vacant board position. I'm just going to get right down to business here. I think some of the challenges facing schools today, for me, is No Child Left Behind and Common Core. I've had a serious disdain for Common Core ever since my second grader brought home elementary math, and it was so convoluted I couldn't even help her figure it out, and she was in tears because she didn't think she was smart enough. No child should feel that way. This focus on standardized testing and teachers being judged on test scores versus being able to customize learning plans and standards. It's not good. I really think local control is better, local standards. I mean, educators in this room know their kids better than some bureaucrat in Lansing or Washington, D.C. Just handing down edicts to these schools and make them figure it out. I think that's wrong. Local control needs to be restored so that parents and teachers that know these kids the best can help educate them in the best way. Some of the challenges facing peer schools, I think the biggest ones over the last year, almost year and a half, is this COVID-19 pandemic. And the issue of masks and things, the efficacy of them. Some people don't want to wear them, some people push them or think it's a good idea. And there's pros and cons on both sides of this issue. And conflicting medical information, people don't know what to believe, which makes a challenge for the school district knowing what policies to implement. You've got these two sides that can't agree on things. There's a lack of inconsistency. I think that's probably the biggest challenge for currently going on. Roles and responsibilities of board members. Obviously, number one is to educate students, provide safety and welfare. I think the peer schools are doing a pretty good job of that. Acquire and dispose of property, handle school employees and contracts, expenditures, budgets, setting certain curricula, and employing a superintendent and other administrators to handle day-to-day operations and employee issues. One thing I would like to see added or expanded is I do know that the Pier has an automotive program. They have regular mechanics, and they also have a diesel program. With the future of electric cars being on the horizon sooner than we think, I'd like to see an automotive class specifically tailored to hybrid and all-electric vehicles. As the technology increases in these cars, it's only going to be more technical and less mechanical in nature. A lot of repairs on these electric cars involve changing out computer modules and reloading software more than turning a wrench. And I think that would be a huge asset to the district to have students ready to go into a shop after graduation and be able to have a great paying career working these future automobiles. And with me, I'm in the automotive field in the service industry. My company publishes automotive service data. It's used by AutoZone, O'Reilly's, all kinds of places, and independent shops, and some partnerships with OEMs. I think I could be an asset to the board in this venture, being that I have that industry inside knowledge and experience. And thank you for your consideration. I also ran this last fall for the school board, and would like you to at least consider somebody that stood for election, whoever that ends up being. Thank you.
I've been a lifelong resident of Lapeer, starting my schooling career at Cranston Elementary, Sherrill Elementary, Zummer Junior High, and graduating in 1990 from Lapeer West High School. My husband is also a lifelong resident, also graduating from Lapeer High School, actually Lapeer East High School, my rival, in 1990. We have 2 children in the school district currently entering 9th grade and 12th grade. During the past year, I cannot imagine the amount of time and stress and the complete disorganization that COVID-19 has placed on each one of you, your staff, your community, the teachers, the parapros, everyone in this room. I do appreciate everything that everyone has been through. That being said, I commend all of you on doing the best job that you could during this pandemic. Along the way, I have observed some impressive, new, innovative ideas to combat this pandemic, especially moving forward into an online program. Because of the pandemic, the school system was forced into a home and online learning program, and I would like to see improvement in these areas, and I hope to help better facilitate the combining of these programs to a better in-home learning process. I applaud all the educators who did step up to the challenge. I am not an educator, but I do feel I can give insight into how our family had to deal with this pandemic, what happened in the household, talking to my children, not knowing what they were talking about half the time, and just kind of winging it, going to friends and family, seeing them do Zooms and other phone calls, trying to figure out from their friends how to do a chemistry problem, algebra problem, that sort of thing. I am currently a physician assistant in orthopedic surgery at Ortho Michigan here in Lapeer with a master's degree in science. Having this position has allowed me to be very active in the community. I have been a medical liaison for Lapeer Steelers and junior lightning football programs and cheer programs, and I am in contact with the current trainers and coaches within the Lapeer sports system. Due to my medical position, I see members of the community that have unfortunately suffered various injuries, orthopedic in nature. Because I see these patients on multiple visits, we do build rapport with each other. We talk about school issues, community issues, bond issues, teacher issues, and things like that. In the future, I would like to see integration of grades 9 through 12 into one high school, and also the revamping of the lower levels to better facilitate the learning process. As a member of the school board, I believe I will have insight and ideas and the patience to help offer make decisions that will affect the Lapeer school system. I do talk to thousands of people a year on different topics, listening to them, getting ideas, and hearing what the community truthfully has to say. I'm also on the board of the Youth Advocacy Center, which serves as a safe haven for sexually and physically abused children here in Lapeer County, and also women of sexual assault, and I have been actively involved in this board for over 5 years. People ask why today I come to this board. It's because of timing. I have a 17-year-old who's driving, a 14-year-old who will be driving soon, and I have the time and the energy to put into this board. I appreciate your time for considering me for a candidate.
Okay. We have heard from the candidates this evening. So I will entertain a motion. And once we have a motion, we can have a discussion.
Well, I would, first off, I'd like to thank all of you for putting yourselves out there to apply for this open board position. I appreciate your time and effort to be here and respond to the questions that we've given you through the process. So at this point, I would like to nominate Nicole McKenna based on just activity and involvement in the community, in the school, as well as board experience. Although it's not a necessity, it makes a huge difference, knowing how things run. So my nomination is Nicole McKenna.
I'd like to give support. Sorry,
Okay. So I have our first nomination on the table to appoint Ms. McKenna. Any discussion about this nomination?
Well, I'll echo Craig because we both joined this board by being appointed. And it isn't an easy thing, and I do commend all 3 of you for putting yourselves out there to be appointed. And I wrote notes on all of them, and 2 of the points that really stuck out for Nicole were 2 kids in the district, 9th graders in the high school, which this board has tried to do in the past. And having somebody that wants to do that along with us, I think that's a huge positive.
Adding to that, I think the community aspect, I would love to hear, or pick her brain on what the community, talks about, and that would be really helpful as well, just as we forward, make sure we're going with the community.
In regards to Nicole, as far as being an active volunteer in the community as well, in her history with serving in the community groups with the children, and also being involved with the medical aspect of it and helping students and kids here in the district, that touches my heart especially. But I do appreciate everyone that gave the time to answer the questions, because I too was up for this position and tried to get appointed and did not work. But then I ran, and so I'm very happy to be here. And if any of the candidates, if you're not appointed tonight, it's not that, your voice isn't valid and needs to be heard. It's just that at this time, we would have to make the choice as to what would be the best asset to our group at this time. And we would hope that you would pursue it down the road to run again, because that is what I did. And I was very fortunate to have been voted in. So I would hope that the candidates that do not get chosen tonight feel in that way. If you're still passionate about it, please to continue your passion and try to be up here with us, because we would appreciate that. We need passion.
Yes, I'll second that. I appreciate everybody taking their time to come up here. I've known Nikki for a really long time, and I've served on some football stuff with her, and she is definitely about the kids. It's one thing I can say about her. It's not just her kids, it's every kid. So I think she would be a definite asset to the board.
Do I have any other motions to appoint on the table? Okay, hearing none. So I have a motion to appoint Ms. Nicole McKenna by Craig Watson and support by April LeVar. So we go ahead and take a vote. Mr. Hagedorn.
Aye.
Dr. Watson.
Aye.
Mr. Lepka.
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar.
Aye.
Mrs. Novak.
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries 6-0. So I too would just like to thank everybody tonight for coming out and your desires and passion. We love it. We really do appreciate this interest. I know it's a lot of work to come, prepare, and present to us, and we appreciate each one of you. So, like April said, don't stop. There's an election coming up in November of 2022. This board needs all the passion and support it can get. So, we appreciate you. So, at this time, I'd like Mrs. Nicole McKenna to come up, join us. And I'd like Mrs. Novak to please administer the oath of office.
All right, so this is the oath of office for the Lapeer Community Schools Board of Education for the term ending December 31st, 2022. Do you accept the position of member of the Board of Education of Lapeer Community Schools? Are you a qualified school elector of Lapeer Community Schools? Registered manager? Yes. Yes. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Lapeer Community Schools according to the best of your ability? Yes. Congratulations.
That you are being board of term ending December 31st, 2022, just 2021, right, kind of right here, right here.
Okay, you can gather your stuff and have a seat at the table, please. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We will move on in our agenda this evening to our reports. First is Finance and Operations Committee. Mrs. Novak, would you please share with us the report?
Yes, thank you. Committee members that were present were myself, Brad Hagedon, and Craig Watson. Others attending were Matt Laundrie, Mark Raiders, Kim Seeperly, Danielle Corbell. I'm not working. Thank you. Mary Moss. I think we all struggled.
That's okay.
Danielle C.
I was gonna say.
That works.
Ordeal. I guess I have to say it. Anyway, meeting was called to order at 1 p.m. via Zoom conference. The committee discussed negotiations. Kim Seeperly gave us a bargaining update. Mark Rader gave us a budget update. He explained that we currently have a fund balance of $600,000 operating variance for fiscal year 2021. Looking ahead to fiscal year 2022, the good news is that operating deficit is now at 1.6 million rather than 2 million as projected. He also explained base budget assumptions include that we should see an increase to the foundation allowance of $164 per pupil, continuation of the stabilization payment in some form, enrollment flat using October 2020 as a basis. More than likely, school aid budget won't be approved by legislators until after July 1st, 2021, which I would definitely assume since that's tomorrow. Once approved and new information from the state is available to determine our budgetary impact, we would bring a budget amendment sometime in the fall of 2021. It was the consensus of the committee to remind full board approval at the June 30th board meeting. We discussed cash flow. Mark Rader and Danielle Corbeil explained that the cash flow borrowing resolution has been drafted to not exceed $3 million, which is less than half of the amount from last year. Good job, guys. This is necessary in order to cover the district's cash flow from August until the first state aid payment is received later in the fall, October 20th. It was the consensus of the committee that the cash flow resolution be approved and will be placed on tonight's agenda. ESSER funds, Mark and Danielle are continuing to monitor the ongoing stipulations for the ESSER funds. Again, those are federal dollars. Usage set forth by the Michigan Department of Education because they dictate how we can spend it. Their goal is to get the application in early in order to secure funding. And then we discussed the Licata update. Licata has shown interest in purchasing some additional property from their original request from our 46 acres south of the high school along Clark Road. After a delay from the pandemic, they are looking to move forward with the purchase of the property. We are working with Lapeer Township on land division in order to finalize a purchase agreement with them. Once accepted, it will come before us for approval. And we adjourn the meeting at 1:38. Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Novak. Any questions, comments? Next, Dr. Watson, would you please walk us through the Personnel Committee report?
Gotcha. Personnel Committee met June 18th. I was there, Lisa Novak and Summer Putnam, as well as Superintendent Laundrie, Kim Seeperly, Mark Rader, Danielle and Beck, Corbeil, and Mary Moss. Meeting was called to order via Zoom at 2. We're going to fast forward because we went over the budget again. So ditto what Lisa just said. Negotiations, Kim, same thing. And then we discussed the superintendent contract. Matt and the committee reviewed the extension of his contract. This will be reviewed with the full board during closed session, and the board will be asked to approve at tonight's meeting. Assistant superintendent contract discussion took place regarding the assistant superintendent contracts. These will be reviewed with full board during closed session, and the board will be asked to approve tonight. And non-union contracts discussions took place regarding the non-union contracts, including child care staff. Meeting adjourned at 2:35.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. Any questions or comments? Okay. And I will share with you the Teaching, Learning, and Technology Committee report. Committee members is myself, Kim Lipka, and Lisa Schultz. Others attending, Matt Laundrie, Kim Seeperly, Michelle Bradford, Mark Rader, Danielle C., and Mary Moss. The meeting was called to order at 2 p.m. via Zoom. The committee discussed the following. Both of them we have the same budget update, exactly. Negotiations by Kim Seeperly, again, was the same as the other two committee reports. We also discussed overnight trips of the following overnight trip requests were discussed with the committee. 7th grade band choir student to Mackinac Island on May 13th, 14th of 2022. Family Consumer Science World Language students to New York City on May 19 through 22 on 2022. JV and 9th grade volleyball players to Ferris State on July 13th through the 15th of 2021. Lapeer High School varsity volleyball players to Ferris State University on July 18th through the 21st of 2021. And Lapeer High School soccer players to Northwood University in Midland, Michigan on July 22nd through the 25th of 2021. It was a consensus of the committee to approve all these field trips discussed. These are placed on the agenda tonight for full board approval. We also discussed the K through 6 academic summer camp update. Michelle Bradford informed the committee that the K through 6 academic summer camp is going great. There is a total of 226 students enrolled. Kindergarten 44, first grade 50, second grade 39, third grade 32, fourth grade 28, 5th and 6th grade 33. During the first week, the students were able to go to Skinner Lake, Bull Haven for skating, and a STEM activity. They met authors and visitors, and experienced all the STEM trailer has to offer. The meeting adjourned at 1:38 p.m. Any questions or comments?
I just wanna say it's exciting to see things getting back, and seeing the kids being able to do stuff.
Yes.
Just welcome.
I second that for sure. Okay. With that, we will go ahead and move on to our action item portion of the agenda. So the first portion is the consent grouping. We have the approval of the minutes of June 2nd, 2021. And we have all of the field trips that I just shared with you in the committee report also. So in this consent grouping, are there any items that we wish to have removed?
I'll make a motion that the reading of the minutes be waived and the consent agenda items be approved as support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Mrs. McKenna?
I abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Litka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak? Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Next, we have the 2020-2021 final budget amendments. We have several on the agenda this evening. So the first one is the 2020-2021 general fund amendments.
I move that the 2021 general fund amendment be approved as presented. Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
I abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Litka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Next is the 2020-2021 food service fund amendments.
I'll motion that the 2020-2021 food service fund amendments be approved as presented.
Okay, we have a motion and a support. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
I abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Litka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Next is the 2020-2021 student activity fund amendments.
Make a motion that the 2021 student activity fund amendment to be approved as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
I abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Litka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Next, we have the 2020-2021, 2013 limited tax school building and site bond debit retirement fund amendments.
So that's.
Yeah, these next four
I'll
are
make a
fun.
motion that the 2020, 2021, 2013 limited tax school building and site bond debt requirement fund
Aye.
Mr. Lipka.
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar.
Aye.
Mrs. Novak.
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Next is the 2020-2021-2014 limited tax school building and site bond debit retirement fund amendment.
I'll make the motion that the 2021-2014 limited tax school building and site bonds debt retirement fund amendments be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
Abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Next is the 2020-2021-2015 limited tax school building and site bond debit retirement fund amendments.
I'll motion that the 2020-2021, 2015 limited tax school building and site bonds debt retirement fund amendment be approved as presented.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
Abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. And lastly, we have the 2020-2021-2016 limited tax school building and site bonds debit retirement fund amendments.
I'll make a motion that the 2020, 2021, 2016 limited tax school building and site bonds debt retirement fund amendment be approved as presented.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
Abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, at this time, the public hearing for the budget is now closed. Now we'll move on to the adoption of the 2021-2022 budget. So we first have the 2021-2022 general fund budget.
I'll make a motion that the 2021-2022 general fund budget be adopted as presented.
Support.
We have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
Abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Next, we have the 2021-2022 food service budget.
I'll make a motion that the 21-22 food service fund budget be adopted as presented.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
Abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, next. Make sure I get this out of order. That was the food budget, right? Food
The
service.
student
Okay,
activity.
thank you. Now we have the 2021-2022 student activity fund budget.
I'll make the motion that the 2021-2022 student activity fund budget be adopted as presented.
So,
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
Abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, next we have the 2021-2022 2013 limited tax school building and site bond debit retirement fund budget.
I'll motion that the 2021-2022, 2013 limited tax school building and site bonds debt retirement fund be adopted as presented. Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
Abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, now we have the 2021-2022 2014 limited tax school building and site bond debit retirement fund budget.
I'll make a motion that the 2021-2022, 2014 limited tax school building and site bond debt retirement fund budget be adopted as presented.
Okay, we have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna? Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Livka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak? Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Next is the 2021-2022, 2015 limited tax school building and site bond debit retirement fund budget.
Make the motion that the 2021-2022, 2015 limited tax school building and site bonds debt retirement fund budget be adopted as presented.
Support.
Okay, so I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mr. Hagberg? Mrs. McKenna? Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Livka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak? Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. And lastly, we have the 2021-2022, 2016 limited tax school building and site bond debit retirement fund budget.
I'll make the motion that the 2021-2022, 2016 limited tax school building and site bonds debt retirement fund budget be adopted as presented.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna? Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Livka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak? Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, next we have the cash flow borrowing resolution.
This one is awesome. I'll move that the cash flow borrowing resolution be approved as presented. When it becomes happening now, we run it on.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna? Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Livka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is closed session.
I move that the board move to closed session to discuss superintendent contract, assistant superintendent contracts, and the LSDAA contract.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Mrs. McKenna? Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Livka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries.
gotta run for 9 minutes. It turns off at 9:30. You have 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes.
Go for it. I'd like to go back in there. Are you trying to freeze us out?
Trying to freeze everybody out.
Thank you, Steve.
It worked.
Who else do it? I'm gonna try hard. It's great.
You gotta make LASP sweatshirts.
We are getting it.
Okay. LASP hoodies. Done.
Okay.
Wait for Brad.
Oh, I
There he
didn't
is.
realize Brad.
There he is.
He was trying to shoot.
We are back in open session, and it is 9:23. Okay, we will finish up the action items on our agenda this evening. So the next item is the superintendent contract.
I move that the 2021 superintendent contract be approved as presented.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
I abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, next is Assistant Superintendent contract for Mark Rader.
I'll make a motion that the assistant superintendent contract for Mark Rader be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
I abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, next is the assistant superintendent contract for Kim Seaverly.
I make a motion that the assistant superintendent contract for Kim Seaverly be approved as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna?
I abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
No.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
No.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Assistant Superintendent contract for Michelle Bradford.
I make a motion that the assistant superintendent contract for Michelle Bradford be approved as presented.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. Mrs. McConnell?
I abstain.
Mr. Hagedorn?
No.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
No.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, we have the 2021-2023 Lapeer School District Administrators Association Master Agreement.
I'll make a motion that the Lapeer School District Administrators Association Master Agreement be approved as presented.
Support. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Mrs. McKenna? Mr. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mr. Lipka?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay. That concludes our action items for this evening. I will now go ahead and open it up for board member comments.
Just have two brief ones. Congratulations and welcome. And congratulations to all that have new comments.
Same here. Congratulations. Thank you for everyone who came up to speak today. We appreciate it. That's part of the board is listening, discussing, going from there. We don't take anything lightly. We do discuss it, talk about it, pass it through committees, talk to the whole team, et cetera. So thank you to everyone who spoke. Congratulations, Nicole, for being here with us now.
Welcome aboard. And again, I'm just gonna ditto because I can sit here and say the same thing over and over and over, but thanks for speaking.
Anyone else this evening?
Welcome. Thank you. I'm excited to work with you.
you to all the candidates that actually put themselves out there. I know that's not always easy to answer all the questions and get up in front of people. I do it daily, so I guess isn't that big a deal to me anymore, but I understand your your nerves and everything you go through. I just want to say I'm looking forward to moving ahead, and I appreciate all the work that Kim and Michelle do for us. I appreciate the contract being settled. I appreciate the parapros, all of our staff. I know it's been a tough year on everyone, and we all appreciate the work that you guys have done. So we appreciate you giving us to speak and telling us about your year as well. Thank you for your time.
Okay, I'd like to say welcome as well. Thank you for everyone that came this evening to share with us. I know it is difficult, but we appreciate everyone's effort of coming. Again, their seats are up in 2022, so please put your name out there. We always can use the support. Secondly, I want to just thank this board for being a fantastic board. We can have great conversations, great discussions, and everyone has their own views, which is the best part about being a board. As you can see this evening, we all had our vote, but we all know how to collaborate and be together. So that's the best thing about being a board and having our different views. So again, thank you. This evening was great. The last thing I'd like to do is, and I don't want you to cry, but
all right, I'll try not to.
April, we, the board, the Cole and Matt, of course, just want you to know how much we love you and your boys, and we just put together a fun little package. This fun little package that we put together is just for you and your boys to continue to go out and have adventures together, make family memories, and just, be yourselves and enjoy. So we want to present this from us tonight here, just to tell you we love you.
And I just want to say, there's one added thing in there from, I just want to publicly say thank you to Steve at Allplan, the owner. He gave you a package for some different activities, and he wanted to do it. I offered to pay for it. He said no, he wouldn't allow me to. So we all contributed, but he, like I said, it was really nice to see the community come forward too. So I want you to know there's community behind you as well.
And Jared and I are available if you don't want to use the golf lanes. You don't want to see those go away.
Actually, Gideon needs some time.
It's great, it's great.
And I do want to express my appreciation to the board, to the full team, to everyone in the community for the last 6.5 weeks since my husband died from COVID, and the month that he was in the hospital prior. Our lives turned upside down April 8th on my birthday. My husband died 4 days before his 42nd birthday, and we had his funeral on his 42nd birthday. I want to express my appreciation to everyone for all that they have done for not just myself, but for our 3 children who go to Lapeer Community Schools. I have a junior, I have a freshman, and I have a 5th grader. And what has been given to them as far as the security and the love and the support has meant more to me, not just for them, but to me too, means more to me than whatever words I could ever express. So I just want to express my undying, faithful. My husband was a staunch supporter of me running for this board. He was out there holding signs, he was out there doing it all, and he was my #1 cheerleader. And I truly feel that he is still here with us, but that this job was given to me so that I can continue the passion that I have felt in this community for the last 9 years that I've lived here, and that it has given me purpose. It's not that I don't have a purpose as a wife, as a mom, but someone asked me, April, will you resign from your position given that Jeremy had? And I said, absolutely not. I believe that this position was for me so that it would give me purpose to get out of bed, to face my fears, and to continue to be an advocate for my children and the children of Lapeer, that Jeremy and I invested so much time in our volunteering in, and I am so appreciative that I had this job. And I couldn't do it without you guys. Without you guys. Jeremy, all of you guys, the entire community, it has meant more to me than I could ever tell you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
You're very welcome. So with that, I'll hand it over to you,
Yeah,
Superintendent.
I yield the balance of my time. Very quickly, I wanted to thank Carol and Bill for coming out. And Carol, just a personal note to you, this is a community member who takes considerable interest in the school district and this board. She and I have communicated a number of times, but very passionate, articulate, well-spoken, and I just really respect your commitment to not just come here, throw your hat in the ring for this, but you've been here and you've been so invested in these issues. I think that's very important. Welcome, Mrs. McKenna. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm excited for my new jersey.
You're not getting a jersey. You're not getting a jersey.
Journey with all of you, and thank you very much.
And, you know, some of the final thing I'll say is that you mentioned about, I think dissent on a board in an organization, if it's done well and it's done with respect, is a healthy thing. You know, we heard from some of our employees tonight who have some legitimate concerns, and the fact that as a team, as a family, that we can, you know, put it on the table and look each other in the eye with respect and dignity, and hear each other and have that impact our actions moving forward, is a healthy thing. Right? We all come here every day and we're just nodding our head and rubber stamping everything. That's not healthy because you don't grow from that. We say it all the time in this whole team, behind closed doors, a lot of activity in there, a lot of disagreement, a lot of dissent, challenging each other, pushing each other. And that always equates to a better outcome because we're digging deeper and trying harder. So I appreciate the employees that and the community members that come here. It's not an easy thing. It's a lot different at that podium than it is sitting in a chair. And you don't realize it until you get up there and everyone's staring at you. The courage that it takes to do that, but it's an important process for a healthy organization to hear that not everything is great. That's a good thing. So, you know, we can agree to disagree on some of the facts and some of the points that are contended, you know, that are debated, but that's what, you know, our democracy was designed to engender and support. And no better place that's more local. You know, I don't give a rip about Lansing, a rip about Washington. This is our little corner of the world, right? And we, the people in those chairs, the people in these chairs, working together, make decisions that impact our kids and our community a heck of a lot more than who the president is, who the governor is. Yeah, sometimes those issues get the press, and that's what we get most fired up about. But what happens in rooms like this across our country are the most important discussions in the world, I think. And, you know, we got a pretty good little team here. So, thank you for being a part of it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a support. Mrs. McKenna. Thank you. Dr. Watson.
Aye.
Mr. Lipton.
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar.
Aye.
Mrs. Novak.
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries.
So your first board member was